Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson, which is going to involve conversions, and specifically we are going to be looking at time. The different formats that time can be written in, how to convert between different units of time. We're also going to calculate the difference in time between two times that have been given, and we're also going to change rates. Now, what is our smallest unit of time that we are going to be working with? Well, the smallest one that we are going to be working with is a second. The unit that comes after a second is a minute. And how many seconds do we have in a minute? There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. We can't actually write S, we need to write SEC for seconds. Now, the next unit that comes after a minute is, of course, an hour. And an hour has 60 minutes. So if we want to calculate how many seconds we have in an hour, we are going to have to take 60 and multiply it by 60. We will be doing some of that a little bit later. Right, after an hour, we are going to get a day. And a day has 24 hours in. You do need to know these different things. I hope that by this time you actually do. Now, next thing, after a day, it comes a week. And a week has 7 days. After weeks, we have a month. And in a month, well, there we have a different number of days and different number of weeks. Generally, what we do is we consider, if we talk about a month, we actually consider 4 weeks as a month. However, if they come and they talk about days, you need to decide, depending on the month, how many days there actually are. After months, the next one we have is a year, and in a year we have 12 months. We also have 52 weeks. That's one you might not generally know, so please take note of that one. We also have 365 days in a year. Although leap year has 366 days, we don't actually worry about that. Okay, and then a unit that's bigger than that, a year is a decade, and a decade has 10 years. And then the largest one we're going to be working with is a century, and a century has 100 years. Most of our examples that we're going to be doing, however, are going to be focused around our seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, and years. Let's start by looking at which time unit are most likely to be used for certain events. Okay, so if we have a look at a soccer match is likely to be in minutes. Let me get my pen back. Right, that is generally in minutes. A soccer match, 90 minutes plus maybe extra time. Now, what about building a house? Well, building a house should be months, but of course it does depend on the size of the house and the builder. So in fact, it could go all the way up to years. Running the 100-meter sprint. So I think you have watched some athletics, I hope, at least at school, or perhaps you have seen some on TV. And a 100-meter sprint is very quick, and that is going to be measured in seconds. And the fastest human being at the moment runs just under 10 meters per second. Now, what about the lifespan of an elephant? Well, elephants, as we know, get quite old. So elephants, we are likely to measure in years. Now let's do some conversions. What we're going to do is we're going to convert the following times to the units given in brackets. The first one we're going to do is we're going to do 9 hours into minutes. So what we have to do is we say, okay, we have 9 hours. Now how many minutes are there in an hour? There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And at this point you're probably going to want to get out your calculator. This is the calculator that I will be using, but of course you can use any calculator that you've got. So we are going to go 9 multiplied by 60, and that gives us 540. So here we're going to say this is 540 and 40, and it is minutes. Please remember, it's very important in Mathslit that you always include the unit if necessary. Another example we're going to have a look at, let's convert 780 seconds, and we will convert that into minutes. Well, in the previous example, we went and converted hours to minutes. We had to multiply by 60. We're now going from seconds into minutes. Now, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So, to convert this, we've got to take 780, and we are now going to have to divide it by 60. So, that's going to be 780. We're going to be dividing by 60, and that gives us 13. Okay, so this is going to be 13, and our units again is minutes. Let's now look at another type of question where we're looking at what is the difference in time between each of the following pairs. Now, this time could be written in various ways. In this particular case, it's actually written in the 12-hour format. So we want to know the difference in time between 9:16 a.m., so that's in the morning, just after you've got to school, and then 12:06 a.m., which is just after midnight. Now, there are various ways that you can do that, but what I would find the easiest to do here is to actually go and work out, if we take a timeline like this, and we say, okay, let's put 9:16 onto our timeline over here, and let's put 12:06 onto a number line on this side. Then, in between here we are going to have 12 noon. So now, if we have a look at the time between 9:16 and 12 noon, at lunchtime, then what we've got here, we can see we've got 16 minutes less than 3 hours. So from 9:16 to 12 is going to be 2 hours and 44 minutes. Then the interval from 12 o'clock midday to 12 midnight and 6 minutes afterwards is going to be 12 hours and 6 minutes. So if we add those two together, 12 plus 2 is going to give you 14 hours, and 44 minutes and 6 minutes is going to give you 50 minutes. Please remember, if you go and get, in this answer over here, more than 60 minutes, you would have to go and take off 60 minutes and add an hour onto there, and then you would have your minutes less. Another calculation that you have to be able to do is you have to be able to convert given hours to hours, minutes, and seconds. You do sometimes get told in a question to write your answer in terms of that. So let's have a look at what we've got here. We've got 7,81 hours. So the hour part is obviously easy. So we're going to say, okay, this is going to be 7 hours. And then to that, we're going to have to add, it's 0,81 hours. So to convert hours into minutes, we've got to take the 0,81 and we are going to multiply it by 60. And this part is going to give us our minutes. So we have to do 0.81 multiplied by 60. And let's convert that to decimals. So it gives us 48,6. Okay, so remember that. So it's 7 hours and it gives us 48,6 minutes. So now what we have to do is we have to take this part of the minute and we have to convert that into seconds. So we're going to do a similar thing to what we've just done. This is going to be 7 hours. It's going to be 48 minutes. And then to that we have to add your 0,6 minutes, which we have to multiply by 60 to get it to seconds. So let's just write the first part down here. So it's going to be 7 hours, 48 minutes. And to calculate our seconds, we're going to use our calculator. So it's going to be 0.6 multiplied by 60. And that gives us exactly 36 seconds. So this is going to be 36 seconds. Okay, so let's have a look at that process again. If you've got hours and parts of an hour, we first split it up into hours, and then our decimal part, we go and multiply by 60 because there are 60 minutes in an hour. Then, when we have got those number of minutes, we again have to take the decimal part if there is one, that is in minutes. We have to multiply that by 60 to turn that into seconds. So there we've done a full conversion from hours, minutes, and seconds. Please remember to look very carefully when you are doing your tests and exams that you do in fact answer the question correctly and give it in the correct format. The next example that we're going to be looking at is where we are going to be converting from one rate to another rate. So what we've been given here is that a cyclist does 34 kilometers per hour, and we want to convert it to a speed in meters per second. So in order to do that, what we've got to do is we've got to convert your kilometers to meters, and we have to convert the hours to seconds. Okay, so let's have a look how we do that. So first of all, let's start with our 34 kilometers. How do we convert kilometers into meters? I hope that you know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So in order to convert this, we have to multiply this by 1,000. So it's going to be 34,000 meters. Okay, now let's take our hour. So basically what we've got is we have 1 hour. We're going to convert that into seconds. Now, to get an hour into seconds, we first have to convert it into minutes by multiplying it by 60, and then we have to multiply by another 60 to turn it into seconds. Okay, so it's not a difficult one to multiply. 6 times 6 is 36, and we've got 2 zeros, so it's going to be 3,600 seconds. Okay, so our 34 kilometers per hour is going to be 34,000 meters per 3,600 seconds. Now, we want to get it into 1 second. This is for 1 second. So what we have to do is we have to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 3,600. When you divide 3,600 by 3,600, we are going to get 1 in the denominator. Let's use our calculator to see what that is going to be. So it's going to be 34,000. We've got to divide that by 36,000, and let's see what the answer is, and 17 over 18. Change it to a decimal place. So now, normally in your test or exam, it will tell you how many decimal places to change to. Let's assume that they told us 2 decimal places. So when we're changing to 2 decimal places, we look at the 3rd decimal place, and this 4 is going to leave this 4 as it is. So this is going to become 0,94 meters per second. Remember, we divide 3,600 by itself, it's going to give us 1.